Welcome back to my video. This is another review for Ready to Love Potomac. And none of these images are meant to have copyright infringement, so that's just a disclaimer. So, on this episode of Ready to Love, they are having a mixer brunch at Ida B's Modern Soul Food Restaurant with all of the singles. And as you can see, they're standing here. This is when Tommy was talking to them once they had the brunch, but I just wanted to show like a screenshot of everybody that was there. So it starts off with Tiffany said that she had her eyes on Wiley as she goes to sit with him. And then Tiffany said that once she sat down, they both smiled at each other, and that's what they usually do. Dakia ended up, inviting herself to the table with Tiffany and Wiley. And Tiffany did not like that at all. She was like, why is she sitting here with us? So Dakia asked Wiley if he is Chuck Brown's son. And at first he didn't want to answer, but he goes on to say in this interview that his father is Chuck Brown and he helped invent the go-go music. So this week, Tommy is talking to them about testing quality of their current connection. And he's going to add one new woman and one new man. And they're going to meet them at a blind date. So only two of them will meet them at first. And then the whole group will be introduced to all of them. To the two new singles, excuse me. And then Tommy starts to make fun of Sabrina's scared face. And they're all laughing about it. So Ace was the one that was chosen to go on a blind date with the gentleman. And Laverne was chosen to go on a blind date with the woman. And he said the rest of them would eventually meet the other singles, but this week is the men's time to eliminate at the gentleman's lounge. So after Tommy makes his announcement, Carson starts to ask Ace, is she nervous about the blind date? And she said yes, she is, because she doesn't know what to expect. And then Sabrina wants Ace to really vet him and let her know about the blind date. And then Sabrina hugs Demetrius. And Dakia says that Demetrius has BDE, which is big energy. And Tiffany asked Wiley, was he uncomfortable with Dakia asking about his dad? And he said, no, it's all good. And Wiley said that he does like Tiffany. It's usually an easy conversation and just easy to talk to her. So Dakia said maybe she'll be a Puma if she has her interaction with Wiley. And Wiley grabs the kid's hand and she likes it and blushes a little bit. So then Precious says that she wants to see Demetrius again. I just feel like Demetrius isn't giving much effort. Like all of the women are saying, oh, I really like you, I'm into you. But he's not really doing much of anything. So that's that. So in the next scene, not Carlton, I keep calling him Carlton, I'm sorry. Clifton and Joy, they end up having an interaction, and Clifton pulled Joy to the side and said, Joy was saying pretty much she's ready to go and it's time to go. And he said no, and he tells her to sit down and he pulls her to sit down next to him. And Clifton takes a hug from Joy and she's laughing about it and she was really happy about it. And she said it's good that, a man can actually show some interest and show you that he's really into you. So she was very pleased with that interaction. They hugged for a long time and she was just giggling the whole time. So it seemed like they're really into each other. So we'll see what happens with them. And this next scene, Laverne is having a blind date with Carmen. She's 43 years old, and she's a brand entertainment CEO for athletes. And she said that she's a boss, and she has on this really big, powerful necklace. So she's letting you know that she's someone that's not to be messed with. And they both were talking about, they both were athletic and competitive. They both were recently they both served in the Air Force. And then Laverne says that he has two daughters and he had been married. And she also says that she's been married and she just has one son. Laverne likes Carmen and he's into her. He loves her physical and internal. And Carmen asked, would it be a second or third date? And Laverne said yes to all of the above. So Laverne says that he has a very strong personality, so he would need a woman that could like, bring it in and bring him down and help him relax. So this next meeting is Ace meeting with the blind date Cornelius. He's 41 years old and he's a real estate investor with bald with a beard, the usual. And he's never been married and wasn't ready for it, but he went to therapy and now he can see the value in marriage. So him and Ace actually exchanged numbers after their interaction. So Ace was happy to meet him. She said he was handsome and he had charming eyes. And Cornelius said he is a safe space and he likes to cuddle. So we'll see what happens with them later on. So Joy and Paul, they have a date. And the name of the restaurant was Smashing Grapes. So when she first gets there, Paul said that he already had her drink and he had ordered her some kind of vodka drink with a splash of lime, and she was impressed. And pretty much the conversation that they had was Paul was saying that he's ready for marriage, and Joy pretty much said like she wanted someone that would be open to her still like traveling and not really being settled in one place. She said the thought of having to stay in one place makes her cringe. So Paul is the opposite. He says that he's ready to settle down. So I just think they had a good conversation, but it was probably not going to go anywhere with them. So this next scene, Clifton was excited to take Dakia on a date, on a one-on-one date. And they were sitting there and they had a little coterie board. And Clifton and Dakia, they talked about premarital sex and do they both feel like it's needed, and they both agreed. And Dakia said, yes, please. So she's eagerly excited about that. Clifton said that he's glad he had a date with Dakia and he picked her up at the end. That seems to be like his little signature move. But at the end of their date, he still said that he felt like Joy was his number one. So I don't know if that's going to end up being an issue later on with Clifton having to choose between Joy and Dakia. So we will see where things lead them. So in this scene, we have a group date with Paul, Cornelius, Sabrina, Tiffany, and Precious. And they went to like this place where you can do ping pong and I guess also have drinks and food. But Sabrina said that Cornelius looks like a teddy bear, and Paul was trying to slam on them with the ping pong. So that's this screenshot you see here. Cornelius is like, okay, dude, you got to take it easy on a woman. And then Precious and Paul were talking, and Precious pretty much said that she feels like he's a little guarded. And he says that he's tactical with his words. So Sabrina and Tiffany were talking to Cornelius, and Sabrina and Cornelius start playing a game of ping pong. But Tiffany said she wasn't interested in Cornelius because she pretty much asked him, do you want to have a life partner, or how do you feel about marriage, or something along those lines. And Cornelius said that he doesn't know if he wants a life partner or marriage. So Tiffany was not having an answer. She thinks that, she said she told him pretty much, I want to be a wife. I know I want to be a wife, so I'm gonna go over here. So she pretty much left him alone. But Cornelius said, that was a turnoff for him. He felt like it was pretty rude and he didn't like the way that she dismissed him. And then when Tiffany goes over to sit with Precious and Paul starts asking her these weird questions, talking about, what would you name your set if you were on spoken word, or would you speak to the cashier when you're at the store? And Tiffany's like, why you keep asking me these 21 questions or whatever? So Paul just said in his interview that he thinks Tiffany is very surface level. Like her conversation, he can't get anywhere with her. There's no type of depth to her. So in this next scene, Clifton asks It was Tori, Carmen, who's the new girl, Joy, and Ace out for a date, and they go to an indoor golfing place. So Clifton was talking about Carmen and her blue contacts, and quote unquote, he said he felt like he was looking like baby Jesus was looking at him. I died laughing. I'm like, not baby Jesus. But yeah, so I don't think he was too attracted to Carmen because of that, and I don't think she caught on to that. But Carmen said that Tori was handsome, but she's not into drag, so she pretty much ignored him and just, spoke to him, but it was cordial, but she didn't put too much energy into him. And then Clifton and Tori both missed the golf ball, and they kept trying to figure out what was wrong and this, that, and the third. And Carmen went up there and she showed out. So Carmen says she knows how to golf, and she asked Clifton to hold her hair. And Clifton said he got divorced 2 years ago. She was asking him about his previous relationship. And he said that he had to make sure that he healed and focused on his self-preservation. And then Joy and Tori were playing a game. They played a game together. And then Tori gonna ask Joy, like, how do you feel about premarital sex? And she's like, she's open to it. Then he gonna say, oh, well, how do you feel about your kidneys being touched? She said, oh, no, not my kidneys. So that was a little laugh that they had together. But she said, leave her kidneys out of it all the way. So then Ace saw that, everybody was hooking up and sitting together. So she ended up sitting by herself. She went to the bar, and Clifton goes to check on her, and Ace just said she didn't want to impose on the other dates. And I feel like that was very classy like of her. She didn't try to compete for anyone's attention or time. She literally drawed the masculine energy to her. She just went and sat at the bar and mind her business, and Clifton came to her. So that just says a lot about her personality. So it was interesting to see that she was able to use her femininity to pretty much get what she wanted to happen anyway, that one-on-one time. So they meet and discuss, who they think should be in the bottom this week. And they pretty much said, Tiffany didn't really have much conversation, and Cornelius didn't like Tiffany as well. And Demetrius didn't like Nakia. Wiley and Paul both didn't like Ace, but Laverne took up for Ace. He said she's a phenomenal woman. She's Oprah, Michelle Obama, Beyonce, Jill Scott, and everything in one. So they were like very, very like, what? She all of that? I didn't know that. So anyway, Paul meets with Tiffany, as you can see in this scene. And he pretty much tells Tiffany she's not ready to love. She was very upset. Paul offered her a hug. She says no and walks out the building with her little wrinkled skirt on. So the next scene, you see Wiley talking to Ace, and he was like very like intrigued by her, and he kind of leaned in and everything. So I think he finally started to see what Laverne was talking about like her energy and her peace and just her personality. Like everything's very serene and just easygoing when you're around her. So anyway, Wiley says that Peace is ready to love and she's ready to keep going. And Riley wants to see more of her. So Ace said in her interview that she's willing to be more open and vulnerable, and she's taking note of like what the guys are looking for as far as a woman. But I think it's safe to say that it's expected to be a little guarded when you're on this show. It's a fast process, trying to get everybody to get to know everyone at such a fast pace. So that's my review for this week. Please come back again. Subscribe to my channel. Share my videos if you like. Share them with your family and friends. And thanks for watching. Take care.